Hello everyone and welcome to Carnivorous Plants Hub. I'm so excited to bring you this video today. I've been putting out a lot of Venus Flytrap videos and I wanted to shift gears a bit and show you how I make my Pinguicula substrate mix. I'm also extremely excited to announce that as of the release of this video, I'm also going to be selling my Pinguicula soil mix. I've been working really hard to perfect this mix and I think it's finally ready to be sold. On top of that, I'll be selling my first live plants soon as well. I've decided to go with pings. I've got a lot of Sethos available and just begging for new homes. Right now it's just the ping soil, but within another week or two I should have pings up and ready for sale. Today I'm going to be showing you exactly how I make my Pinguicula soil mix. I'm going to go over my ingredients and exactly how much of each I put into the substrate. I really like the idea of being super transparent with all my customers. Anyone who wants to buy this mix can head on over to this video and watch exactly what's going on and exactly what I'm putting into my mix. Or if you want to learn what to do so you can make your own substrate, that's totally okay too. Alright, let's go ahead and head out to my garage and I'll start by introducing you to all the ingredients. Let's go ahead and start with the peat moss. This is the part of the substrate that absorbs the water and holds it for the roots. It wicks up the water and gives the roots the water that they need to survive. Next is the perlite. Perlite is a great soil additive that helps keep your mix aerated and helps the soil mix drain really well. It's really important. Next is the main character of my Pinguicula substrate. Your Mexican Butterwort is going to look like a superstar when it's sitting in this substrate. The glass will shimmer and gleam in the sun. Not only does it serve its purpose by helping keep the substrate well draining, it's going to be an eye catcher. People will ask you what the heck is making your soil sparkle. Your ping deserves this kind of celebrity treatment. This here is the crushed glass. And last but definitely not least is the pumice. As a matter of fact, it's the opposite of least. There's more pumice in this mix than any other ingredient. The pumice is outside because I just got done rinsing it. I like to rinse each ingredient separately before mixing them all together. Here's a quick video showing you how I rinse the pumice. This is the same way I rinse the perlite. I use a bucket with a metal strainer. This keeps the pumice in the bucket while all the dirt and dust rinses out. I have holes in this bucket in the bottom, so I just let it drain after I feel the water is clean enough. Okay, now that you've been introduced to all the characters of this story, it's time to start mixing. Let's get the pumice in here first. I like to use my quart container as it helps me know exactly how much I'm putting in. I'm going to use all my pumice I have left for this batch. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Looks like it's about 5 quarts. The next ingredient is the peat moss. I like to use about a quart less of the peat moss than I use of the pumice. I want the pumice to be the main ingredient. This soil needs to drain really well. Too much peat will create less drainage. Other carnivorous plants like Venus flytraps and Sarracenia love more peat and they like having access to that extra water. Pings prefer a sandier, less peaty mix. I always sift my peat. There's just so much junk in the peat moss. There's big clumps, sticks, twigs. Sifting it really helps me get all that stuff out. After I sift, I spend the next few days picking sticks and twigs out of the mix as it's drying. I try to get as much of that stuff out as possible before I send it your way. Next here, we're going to add the perlite. Even after rinsing the perlite, it still has a lot of dust. Most of this stuff will be rinsed out here in just a minute. I'm going to go with a little over 2 quarts of perlite, about half of the amount of the peat moss. Alright, the last thing that we're going to add here is the main character. This is the superstar of the mix, the crushed glass. Crushed glass is my sand for the mix. Not only does it look good, but it helps keep the mix super well draining. I'm going to add a little over 2 quarts here, same as the perlite. I like to quickly kind of mix everything up just a little bit here before I add the water to rinse. Look at that, it's just beautiful. So just to run it down real quick for you, I use 5 quarts of pumice, 4 quarts of peat, about 2.5 quarts of perlite, and about 2.5 quarts of crushed glass. A good silica sand can be used instead of the crushed glass, it just won't be nearly as awesome. Alright, and real quick before I show you the next part of the process for making this soil, I wanted to thank you so much for being here and ask that you make sure to pour some water on my like button and subscribe to my channel to help it grow. I'm getting really close to fulfilling my dream of opening a carnivorous plant nursery. As of today, I'm now selling both pings and Venus Flytrap soil mix. The Flytrap mix is good for sundews and Sarracenia, plus many other carnivorous plants. I'm also selling different planters. Make sure to head on over to my store and see for yourself. The link's in the description, the pinned comment, and there should be some links right below the video. Thank you so much for helping me get just one step closer to my dream. Also, real quick, if you're in the market for a ping right now, California Carnivorous has a huge selection. I have a link to their collections in the pinned comment and description, and make sure you use my code BUGEATER to get 10% off your order. That's BUGEATER, BUGEATER. Okay, so the next part of this process is adding the water. I'm adding 2 gallons of pure water that's been filtered by my wonderful zero water pitcher. If you don't have a zero water pitcher yet, what are you waiting for? It's absolutely one of my main pieces of equipment. I'm almost getting too big for it though. I need to upgrade to an RO system soon, probably in the next growing season. But if you just have a handful of plants, get your hands on a zero water pitcher. I promise you won't regret it. Once we get all the water in there, it's time to really mix this substrate up and make sure we get it well rinsed. I mix it like this for probably 5 to 8 minutes. I really want to make sure I mix it around and get out any clumps. Once I feel it's been properly rinsed with this batch of water, I drain it. Once I drain, I try really hard to wring all this stuff out. I want to get all that water out as it's carrying all the perlite dust, pumice dust, glass dust, any nutrients or minerals that may have been backed up in the peat moss. This rinsing and draining process is what makes my substrate so special. You know when you get this mix at your door, it's been hand mixed and hand rinsed to ensure the highest quality. I love throwing on some music and coming into my garage and just rinsing some dirt. I call it dirty therapy. You can see here after I pull the drain, my water and some excess substrate rinse down into the bucket. I have a cool mesh screen covering the bucket top so I can retrieve anything that gets washed down the drain. After each draining, I grab the mesh screen and add what was washed down back into the mix. After I'm done, I use the bucket of excess water to water my less sensitive plants like trees and shrubs. I try really hard not to waste any water in this process if possible. Even when I'm rinsing the glass, the perlite, or the pumice, I do it in my yard so that at the very least my yard is absorbing the water. After it's all wrung out, I pour more water in and I literally just, now come on, wait for it, rinse and repeat. Thank you, I'll be here all night. I do this 3 times, so I use about 6 gallons of water to rinse each batch. This is a smaller batch than what I would normally make, so I only used about 4 gallons. I'm finishing off the pumice that I had, so I didn't have enough to make a normal full batch. Okay, then we pull the drain out again, I squish out all the water again, and once I've done this a satisfactory amount of times, I grab my little baby shovel and scoop the Pinguicula mix into these bins. Now that it's all rinsed, it's time to dry. Drying is my least favorite part of this entire process. It requires me to frequently come out and hand mix it. I'm really working on a more effective way to dry this stuff out, but for now I'm using a combo of sun and a heater with a fan. If you have any good ideas for speed drying this stuff, I'm all ears. Sound off in the comments. Oh, and by the way, don't recommend the oven. I tried that. It made my substrate smell really funny and I really didn't like the way it turned out. It also didn't really work as well as I'd hoped, so really anything other than an oven. If you have any ideas, sound off in the comments. If you're interested in learning how to repot pings, I do have a video popping up on the screen now. Make sure to head over there and see how easy it is to repot a ping. They have a really shallow root system and they make it really simple. I also go over some great care instructions, and I really hope you consider checking out my store and buying some premium ping soil. I'll be selling ping soon, so keep your eyes open. I hope to catch you in my next video. Bye!